First, let's talk about what is cybersecurity. The cyber part comes from the digital things that we're attempting to protect. And these can include things like devices, like our smartphones and our workstations and our servers, our communications, which are email messages, our phone calls, our text messages, our systems, which are the software, G Suite, Office 365, Salesforce, and other systems that we use. And then, of course, the information itself, the content within our email messages, the content within our Salesforce database. And the security piece is protecting not just that information in a general sense, but in very specific ways that are referred to as confidentiality, integrity, and availability, which we will talk about in a little bit. The security triad that we're looking at here is the kind of three ways that we can protect the systems that we have. So we have the physical, of course, which is preventing physical access. I'm not going to let someone just have my cell phone or have my workstation. I'm not going to let someone into our server room. Then we have the people that are going to protect the information. So if someone calls me on the phone, I'm not just going to give away confidential information. I'm going to hopefully, verify if the person is supposed to get that information before I give it to them. And then we've got the cyber part, which are our passwords, encryption, and backups, and other things we use to protect that. The interesting thing to note is that people really manage all of these things. So even though there are these cyber and physical aspects to this, all of these are managed by people, so people can be a weak component to all of this. An example is we can have perfectly good physical security at a door, but if a person, because they are tired of getting up and going to the door to open it for people who come in, props it open with a fire extinguisher, a person has circumvented and weakened a perfectly good physical security mechanism. And likewise, if we have passwords that we use to protect our systems, but I use an incredibly weak password like password or 1234, then I've also, as a person, subverted or weakened that security. This is what the CIA triad looks like. And most people, when they think about cybersecurity, they focus right in on that confidentiality piece, which is asking a question of how bad would it be if the information that I was trying to protect was exposed to someone who wasn't supposed to see it. So for example, if all my emails were exposed to WikiLeaks or published on the New York Times. But there's two other areas that are equally important to consider in thinking about protecting information. One of those is integrity. And with that, I'm asking how bad would it be if the information was lost and I couldn't get it back? And I'm also asking how bad would it be if the information was changed or modified in a way that I couldn't recognize or recover from? And then also we want to consider availability of information. With availability, I'm asking the question, how bad would it be if I couldn't access my information for, let's say, 24 or 48 hours of time when I really needed to? So it's important to think about all of these three different ways that we want to protect information, because there are different safeguards we'll use depending on the way that we're trying to protect the information. Let's take a look at a little template we have that we can take a look at. So we're looking at, what is the information called? It's a Salesforce database or an HR folder or case files. And then we have a description of it. It's our CRM database. I'm going across the second top row here. Where is this information housed? It's in Salesforce. We're going to classify the confidentiality of that information as medium, meaning it would be a medium bad. It would be, a significant disruption, but not an end-of-life kind of scenario if that information were compromised on the confidentiality. But if the integrity, if that information was deleted and we couldn't get it back, then that might actually rise to the level of an existential threat to our organization. And again, on availability, we're saying that information, if it were not available to us for 24 or 48 hours, then it would be a medium threat to us. And there's other ways of going about this, but this high, medium, low kind of categorization is a good start. And then we also, as we go through this template, you've got some risks that you can put to confidentiality, risks to integrity, risks to availability, and then the in-place safeguards that we have that are currently protecting those things. And this is basically the start of how we think about cybersecurity.